Good morning, good afternoon, chess fans. My name is Levy Rozman. It's currently the first Tuesday of the month here in February of 2020, which means it's time for Title Tuesday, but it's also, if you didn't know, the first show of Title Tuesday of the day, after the show that we have right now at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern, and I believe 18 Central European time. Sorry. I'm sorry for a lot of things. I'm sorry about the construction noise outside. I'm sorry about a lot of things. But there's going to be two chess shows today. This is Title Tuesday episode 1. In case you didn't know, in the year 2020, there are going to be two Title Tuesday shows. Bet you didn't know that. And they're going to happen back to back. So we're going to do this one and then have the usual one. At the moment, we've got Firouzja, we've got Naroditsky, we've got Fedoseev, we've got a lot of the big name players. We've got, wow. This is international master Guillermo Vasquez, who's a Paraguayan-American chess player who's got a blitz rating of 3,000? That's incredible. Oh, the Kwang Liam just registered. So, for anyone that doesn't know what the format is, we're getting started here in about 2.5 minutes. It's 9 rounds. It's a Swiss-style event, which means, unlike an arena format, once you're done with a game, you wait until everybody else is done with their game, and then they make the pairings. You only play people that have your score, with some mild exceptions. Grishuk would probably be listed in the top 10, so we do not have Grishuk yet. If you're watching on Twitch, if you're watching on YouTube, shout out to you. Also keeping an eye on Chess TV chatters. But if you've got any questions about the event, of course, I should also mention that this is what the prize money looks like. Everybody likes moolah. First through 5th get a payout, as well as the best stream. There's going to be a lot of chess streams today. I do not know if Hikaru Nakamura is participating in this event. I am going to assume that he is participating, but maybe he is not. I, unfortunately, am not the spokesperson for the twitch.tv/GM Hikaru channel. If I have to root for somebody today, I am going to root for Big Fish 1995. Big Fish 1995, aka Vladimir Fedoseev, plays for the New York Marshals, and I am a New Yorker, so I have to support my man. He is rocking 2 back-to-back 4-0 performances. He has won 11 straight games in the Pro Chess League, with a performance rating above 2850, which might put him like top 2 in the league, top 3 in the league. That's all I gotta say about Mr. Vladimir. Parham has just signed up, Iranian superstar, Parham Maksudlu. And with a minute to go, let me know if you guys have a winner in mind. Really a lot of drama going on outside of my household, so that's one of the things about living in New York City. You know, it's never too quiet. Hopefully the games won't be too quiet today. Anytime you put 9 rounds and 200 Grandmasters or 200 titled players together, you get a lot of action. You really do. Very few of these games are, are quick draws. We got to get into like rounds 8 and 9 for there to be some of these, 10-15 move kind of no combat draws, but for the most part, these guys are fighting all the time. I'm curious to see how well Firouzja does today, rocking 3165. Probably will stick with him to get things going here. Got a lot of games. I'll be pulling up some games here as we get started. I just need there we go, board icon to appear. Fantastic. I'm pulling up the games of all the 3,000 rated players. Do I like the Swiss style? Yeah, I like it. It's good. I'm going to leave this game because c4, so it's actually interesting. Here, knight c6 is a pretty good move. I wonder if black knows this move. Black doesn't know this move. Firouzja playing this pretty interesting anti-Petrov line with c4, because basically you like to go d4, but then black is going to go d5. That's actually the problem. So you go c4 to avoid that, but you see black still setting up with c6 and d5 and whatnot. I was going to leave this board just because it was It was a Petrov. Let's see, Naroditsky playing his patented modern King's Indian style setup. This is a King's Indian with a slow queenside creep. D6, C6, B7, B5, A6. Why is nobody streaming? That's a great question. I would have expected Daniel Naroditsky to have been streaming his games. I really don't know. Ali Reza is not streaming, I guess. I don't have an answer, unfortunately. Wow, this game has a lot of pieces traded. Who was ZQ1? Alright, I should probably keep an eye on the boards. Okay, we've got Monkey Chess streaming. I'd really like to just go to an interesting game. All these games have sort of petered out. But this is really the incredible thing about Title Tuesday is you've got a 3,000 rated player here, Liam Le, who's a Vietnamese superstar. And he's playing a Grandmaster in the first round. I mean, you might play 9 Grandmasters. That is an extremely rare occurrence in any type of format. But I'm still looking for the game I want to stay at, and so far no game has really... Let's stick to Naroditsky here to begin with. This is a really interesting game that I think can be quite instructive. First things first, when you look at any position, you got to scan for the material. At this point, the material is equal. Both players have just traded a knight and a pawn. So at this point, the next thing you do is you go, well, what's the king situation like? It's pretty equal. Then you go, all right, what's the piece situation like? Well, strikes me that black's got a very active dark squared bishop, but these two pieces are a bit lacking. And in terms of the pawn play, obviously this is where the breaks are going to come, but it's very clear here that white is looking to start some sort of initiative. It seems like that Daniel's not particularly concerned about f5, because if this were to happen, the e5 square would be surrendered. You would have 3 light squared pawns, and the e5 square would just be presented to black. And so for that reason, Naroditsky is just expanding on the queen side, putting the queen on b4. Maybe he's got knight b6 planned. And now white is offering an exchange of queens. You might prefer that he takes just so you can take with the a-pawn and have an open a-file. And also black will then be fixing the problem of his only potentially bad pawn. But this move forces queen d2. I don't know if Naroditsky missed this move. I'm not sure what he's thinking about. Oh, he might throw in knight c4. That's interesting. So knight c4, and if they take the queen, then you take the queen, and you'd be winning a pawn. Knight c4, there is bc4, though. And it's not clear if queen a4 is possible. Or queen b3. Naroditsky opts to take, and then play a4. Here, I'm kind of concerned about bishop a5, though. Because again, if pawn takes, it's just a trade. But if white plays the move bishop a5 hitting the knight, and you take on c4, I'm taking with my pawn. My knight is very solid. I've got full control of the b-file. And so Naroditsky doesn't go for that. He's actually giving this away. Or I guess he wasn't giving it away, because if there was pawn takes, there was rook a8. Interesting. And yes, we have some confused chat members. I'll happily answer some questions. Starting in 2020, there is going to be multiple Title Tuesday events every single time that we have a Title Tuesday. So there's going to be 2 shows. A morning show and an afternoon show. Or 2 afternoon shows. Or an afternoon and an evening show, depending on where you are. Uh-oh, did Naroditsky? No, he didn't blunder that. That was a nice little tactical sequence where the knight guarded the bishop, but he's coming in with rook a3. Now, white's coming in with e5. If these pawns are traded, white is sending this game for a draw. So this is all up to Naroditsky. Maybe he's gonna go c4, so that the rook obviously does not have much pressure because of the knight. And if rook b1, now this rook comes in, and we're seeing the coordination of black's position really take control here, right? So white plays this move rook b5, d5 is now guarded. And now rook c5 guarding and also attacking the knight. Maybe rook c6 is an idea in the future. Oh man, rook c6 is actually very menacing. Very, very menacing move, and then we see Narrow kind of slide out of there, because if this came, it would have forced the rook trade. Still rook c6. I'm curious, what is this? Oh, rook c3 maybe. Yeah, rook c3. That's it. Rook c3, and you can probably just agree to a draw. He's deciding which one to take, actually. Right, because if you take with check and then you take, maybe you can... But I mean, why would you allow this pawn to survive? I don't know. Yeah, so now we have a position where we've got rook knight 3 versus rook bishop 3, a completely symmetrical structure. If this was a game with no increment, black is up 15 seconds. It's black's game to play for a win. But, you know, with the 2-second bonus, I mean, of course a knight is very tricky. But, you know, credit to white here for kind of killing off the fun very quickly. Good move, though, from Naroditsky. We do see him fixing the structure. Fixing is when you plant one of your pawns in such a way that the other 1 or 2 pawns can't really move anywhere. And we see that happening here, where 1 pawn controls 2. A pretty nice situation here. And then if you rotate the knight in a certain way, like from f4, the knight would be pressuring 3 different things. So we see the dark squared grasp here taking control. Of course, a light squared... Oh... Well, that's already giving up a pawn, but I don't think Naroditsky's even going to go for that necessarily. He might look for king e5 and king f4. Yeah, like I said, knight e4 is good, but that endgame might not even be winning. Someone in Twitch chat saying, in how many hours is Title Tuesday? If you're watching the show right now, you are watching Title Tuesday. It's at the bottom left. There's a hashtag. There's a gigantic sign right here that says Title Tuesday. There's a giant thing over there that says Title Tuesday. The name of the stream is Title Tuesday. You're watching Title Tuesday. We're pretty good with our brand placement, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is one of the longest running events that we've had. We're pretty solid with how we advertise this thing. The next Title Tuesday is at its usual time, which is 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. If you were interested in the second show, you should have pointed that out, because I'm definitely going to give a sassy response otherwise. But yes, 2 Title Tuesday shows from here on out. So I would expect a king run at this point, because, I mean, obviously you're not going to be able to do much damage. But white's got 15 seconds, and at a certain moment, white will blunder something. So, and then there we go. King f4, and now there's no checks. Rook f5 isn't good enough. He blocks the check. If here, then king g3. Now, there is no mate. Wow, this knight is just doing such a good job. Very nice, we can call this stewing. This is how you stew a position where, you know, you were clearly better, or excuse me, you were about equal, but you just kind of created winning chances seemingly out of nowhere. So king g3, the g2 pawn will be lost. Knight g2, and then there we see it. So Mr. Maksudlu here has simply a winning position, but he has to be mildly careful. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, no, he's back. So he's going to go to b5, and he's going to get checked, and the rook is going to make it back here, but once he does that, this king is just going to run straight back and help the pawn. Really, white would like to play rook e8 check and promote. Rook can go back like this. But Parham might actually flag here. There is a chance that Parham actually... Oh my goodness. We might see Parham lose this game. I mean, I know there's increment, but he is having some problems with his connection at the moment. Ten seconds for Parham and a 1-bar connection. What do you guys think? Think Parham's going to lose on time in this one? That would be crazy. Oh my goodness, 2, 1. And he, oh man. That is a bummer for Parham Maksudlu. He plays a great game. And just times out here at the end. We've got a few more games to go. And normally what happens at the end of Title Tuesday is you get Rook endgames, minor piece endgames, things of that nature that take like 80, 90 moves. So yeah, that's a bummer. This is Svein Rasmus. Wow. Rasmus Svein from Germany, very strong player. I've played him a handful of times. That doesn't make him a strong player. You don't have to be a strong player to play me. But very strong player indeed. And he's got the white pieces here in a very tricky endgame. This pawn is promoting. And wow, okay, no, he must be lost here. I mean, king and rook can hold if you have the right fortress setup. But your fortress needs to be on d5 in this position. Fortress meaning you get a position where everything guards each other and black can't really get past you. That's exactly what white is going for. And black just sort of allowed it. So I don't know. I don't know. We've got the desired situation here. I'm curious. Now, the thing is that black's king is very close, so there are various potential tricking opportunities. But I don't see it at the moment. Like, what is... Okay, so he moves the rook this way. At least he's threatening this check. Oh, man, wait. He just let him go king d4 and take. But I guess the problem here is that white has no useful move. That's the problem. Is that even if the pawn was on c3, because this king is so close to the king itself, there is nowhere for white to move. Like, for example, your king moves allow a check and a capture. So essentially the activity of both the king and the queen here, you know, if the king had been in the corner, shuffling back and forth, it would have been easier with like king, pawn, rook, something like that. But because the black king and black queen are too close to the white king, it's actually a losing endgame. And queen and rook versus queen versus a rook is a win. I believe there's a video on YouTube of Magnus defeating Maxime Vacher-Lagrave in a time scramble. I think it was in the St. Louis Chess Club, one of these rapid and blitz events, where he defeats MVL pretty nicely with a bit of a maneuvering process. But the game's definitely not over. There's plenty of tricks in this position. There's stalemate tricks. You know, for example, king e3, rook f3. Oh no, he blunders rook f3. I don't know if he allowed that on purpose or... This is a very famous defense scheme. Rook f3. So it's a stalemate. I called it from a move away. Is that the last game of the round? Yes, it is. We're ready for round 2. But it's very funny because you need to avoid these things. It looks like you get this close, you go, no more checks. Finally, I'm free. And then rook f3 check. Oops. So yeah, that's a bummer. It was otherwise a very decent game by black, but it happens. This is an interesting matchup. Let's go here. Vincent Keymer versus Vladimir Fedoseev. So Keymer, if you guys don't know, German superstar, won the Grenke Open last year, not in 2019, but in 2018. He played the Grenke Classic, which was last year, in that very famous round 1 matchup against Magnus Carlsen. Your humble host of today's show actually did commentary on that game. And he's playing against Fedoseev here. What I'm really surprised about is the fact that Vincent Keymer, yeah, he's actually a GM. That should change, but I guess he hasn't changed that himself. He's only 2686 Blitz, which is so weird because I have a higher rating than Vincent Keymer in Blitz. And I would not begin to argue that I am a better chess player than Vincent Keymer. So just sort of shows you that online rating might not be, you know, a super fair representation of chess skill. Or he just plays on another account and is just using his public account today. So, on that note, taking a sip of tea, how are you guys doing? I've been informed that Keymer is not officially a Grandmaster. It's you know, he has met the criteria, but he is going to be applying and it will be approved in February, so not just yet. But it was only a matter of time. I mean, it's you will reach it. Friendly reminder, everybody, before we get into this game's going to be spicy, so we're going to stay here, but we got to remind you of what the prizes look like. And yes, every Title Tuesday will now have 2 events. There's over $2,000 worth of prizes up for grabs. The best stream prize is $100. You could vote me as the best stream prize. Hey, staff, can the commentator win a best stream prize? I'd like $100, please. But the usual big prizes for the top places. Alrighty. Let's go back to our game. Now this one started out with a b3 kind of ready side fianchetto system, and you know, a6 is kind of the anti-bishop b5 move, so white just plays d4. dc5 allows e5, but I guess Keymer is saying I'll take the 2 bishops and I'm going to quickly castle queenside, but why didn't he go queen g4? I don't know. Why would you voluntarily whatever. Fedoseev's got 55 seconds, by the way. Can we just address this? Yeah, bishop d6 is exactly what I was afraid of. Now, g3 blocks the attack but locks this in, and you really don't want to go queen g1. The problem with this maneuver by Fedoseev is you're basically giving this pawn away. Because now it's got no guards. When you played bishop there, okay, so now, wait, knight takes d5? I don't isn't Fedoseev just busted here? What am I missing? Knight d5, rook d5? Isn't Vincent Keymer just up a pawn with 2 bishops and no problems at all? I mean, his queen is passive, but bishop e2 and just like queen d1? White is just... Also, there is another pawn here, but that might be a bit too risky. That might be a bit too risky. Since you're just allowing black activity, and why would you do this? This is something I'm a little confused. I don't have an answer. But if anybody has any chat questions, do let me know. Yeah, this is Fedoseev now creating some... Oh, okay, so number 1, b5 is played here because if bishop e2, you got knight b4 ideas. And this is Fedoseev saying, you're up a pawn, but I'm going to create chaos. Anytime you're losing, and then, you know, queen d1 says, I don't care about the bishop, I'm going to take this. And now Fedoseev says, I don't care about my king's safety. I played all these moves, but you still got a problem, and I'm guarding this. So... when you're losing, I was about to say, when you're losing, there's 2 ways to defend. Stout defense, where you just kind of guard threats and don't get any more weaknesses than you already have, or create chaos. And Fedoseev in this position is down a pawn, down on time, but he's going to create chaos. He's going to try to get his opponent lower on time. So With doing that, he is hoping to use his superior experience, knowledge, expertise. Oh my gosh, and wait a second. So this move is great if you take, but is there knight b4 here? Knight b4 threatens mate and the rook, but maybe bishop c4. He plays it, so bishop c4, he's giving this away. And then maybe bishop e5 is the way to go? Rook c8 threatens mate, but then you take. No, I think Keymer is just... Oh. Okay, take my bishop, I'll take yours. You get the pawn. Now material is still in Keymer's favor. He has a bishop and 3 pawns. For the rook, his king is pretty safe. Rook d2 is a minor problem. If you can trade 1 rook, you're happy. Rook d2? Oh, bishop e5 if rook d2. f6 must be played. But then bishop d4. Yeah, Fedoseev is busted here. Oh my gosh, f5. I didn't even consider that move. I was too respectful of white's threats. Yeah, Fedoseev, like I said, trying to throw a lot of caution to the wind here, trying to create some problems. But he's got 10 seconds, and I'm just not sure this position has the right firepower to do it. King b2, rook d6. Yeah, he's just out of, you know, fireworks. He set them all off. All right, he's still got a little bit of fight here. But the thing is that Vincent can even play something like rook f7. Because this check, the king just goes to a3 and takes queen f8. Wow, really? There's nothing. Nothing at all. Queen f8, king b7, queen c5. That threatens mate in 1. Queen b7, queen f8. No, there's no mate. Not yet. Okay, we're gonna have a little rodeo here. Don't draw this game, Vincent. Vincent? Vincent, I swear to God. If Vincent draws this game... Oh my gosh. I can't believe he did that. I can't believe he just did that. I can't believe that he just drew... Oh my goodness. And on top of that, we have to run ads now. Because we're so tilted. And Vincent Keymer... I mean, it's a 3-2... No! I don't care if he drew a plus 400. It's an online blitz game. I'm going to cheat. What's the evaluation of this position? It's plus 1.5. I'm cheating. Look. Engine. We don't use engine for the commentary here. Alright, let's go to some other games that won't disappoint me. I don't know. I don't know why he would repeat. I guess he felt like the game was getting away from him a bit. And for that reason, he chose to repeat the moves. Alright, like I said, a lot of Title Tuesday endgames that take us a long time to conclude are Rook, endgame, you know, minor piece endgame, these kinds of things. So this one is no different. Rook, knight, and 2 pawns. Black pretty passive here. King is stuck on the back rank. A7 is a problem. Scroll to see if there's anything else going on that's interesting. Wow, what on earth is this endgame? So white has passers. This is a win. Yeah. Nice move. Amazing. And now neither pawn can really go forward, because if b7, and you could even play like bishop a8. Yeah, and he plays it because there's no way forward now. Very nice little instructional moment. King can't really cross here. a7, none of this really works, and it's just a win for black. Nice nice game there from Shugirov. Parham not tilted after his disconnection, but might be tilted after this game, as he's struggling here. Just don't go king e4 and blunder d2. Yeah, Parham down a bishop. Gonna have to draw rook and bishop versus rook. He probably will. I think white is actually just about to repeat. Never mind. Never mind. White did not repeat. Unlike somebody else who we just saw repeat the position. Okay. Here we are watching a game between an FM and a WCM. And it looks like black is on the verge of getting mated, but it's not so clear how we're going to actually do that. Because rook g7 and... or that? And it's kind of weird. There's like no extremely obvious way to put together all of the threats. You can't... You know, you would love to maneuver your bishop to a square like e6. Uh-oh. Well, black can get a little overexcited with the defense here. Yeah, I'm not convinced though, but he just rook e4. Oh. Was that a slip? You were not required to give away your bishop there. Bishop f7 should not be played by white. I mean, it should be played by white when the rook is not here. Yes. But when the rook is here, the rook just takes. But, okay, so now black is demonstrating how to lose all of your pieces in a brief period of time. That is what is happening here. Queen takes f8 and h8 queen was just winning. Please do not repeat the position. Queen takes f8. For the third time... Yo, oh. It's a deflection tactic, just taken. Just shows you that even 2500s don't always have their puzzle rush tactics down. Oh, is it gonna happen? Are we gonna see it? Are we gonna oh my, he kept it. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's free now. Are you? Oh, thank you. Oh my. I thought I'd never see Queen f8 played. It took it being a free rook to get it played, for the love of God. Oh my goodness. Watch white stalemate this game. If white doesn't win this game, I don't even know how that's possible. It's mate in one. It's mate in one. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord they saw that move. Goodness. Anyway, this was a fantastic setup by black. Black made a big mistake here in getting a little bit overexcited. Sometimes, you know, instead of just defending passively, you do get opportunities. But this is a very comfortable holding position. I mean, and then of course you just blundered a bishop. But even if rook e4, somebody said bishop f7, this is a fantastic move. You have to look for opportunities, you know, to break into the position. And a very good question is, well, I'd like to maneuver my queen into their territory, right? But how can I do that without moving my queen? Which is not a question a lot of people ask themselves. A lot of people are looking at stuff like this. You go, oh, well, I can maybe make this move. Because if rook takes, I have queen g8 mate. That's winning. And I'm actually also flat out threatening queen g8. So yes, it would be bishop f7. It would not be something like bishop to e8, because that does not create the threat. Right? And then bishop f7, also giving this away, you have to see check, and then this checkmate. Which this guy definitely wouldn't have seen, because, I mean, the best tactical abilities he demonstrated were taking a free bishop and then finding checkmate in one move, and also a free rook. But besides that, I'm not super convinced. I'm not sure if this was a mouse slip here by black, just giving this check and then not actually defending the rook, but black got a little bit overzealous on defense. Somebody called me a jerk for how I handled this poor tactical display, but listen, I gotta call it how it is. The idea bishop f7 doesn't work in this position because this rook would just be taking. So, Parham lost again! Oh, wow. He actually lost rook and bishop versus rook. Okay. It's time to disconnect from Chess.com and go for a walk, Parham. So, and yeah, I mean, black in that game was a 2300 rated player. When in a field of 3000 rated players, it might not look super, you know, significant to actually analyze a game like that. It is what it is, but obviously still analyzing a 2200 level game is good for a lot of chat members. Okay. Firouzja has the white pieces, and he plays a knight e2 winnower. This is, for those of you that have not bought my e4 course yet, so you're not demolishing your, club level opponents with the b3 French. The classical French and a very good anti-winnower line is knight e2. Excuse me. I have a fantastic function on my microphone where I can mute it before I have to cough. Very tricky line where you just get a pretty unique and flexible position. And maybe even a kingside attack with knight h5. He just chooses to castle, which is completely fine, but he's got a very nice central blockade here. That move makes sense because you're preventing b4, but it's just slow. It's just a slow move. Like now white just goes queen h5 and you're paralyzed here. Where's this bishop going? I predict Firouzja wins in 15 moves. I wouldn't be surprised if this game is simply over in 15 moves. Firouzja is an incredible momentum player. I mean, you gave him 4 fantastic place pieces. He's now going to maneuver his rook, his bishop, maybe a pawn or two, his knight into perfect territory, and black is simply going to be losing. Unless black shocks me, but look, black is already down 40 seconds. I'm not even sure what that move does. Okay, there we go. Firouzja's pouncing. He is giving his opponent an opportunity to trade a problematic piece, but he is also clearing the path here. So the rook will be able to maneuver. So we see black maneuvering over to c5, which is in conjunction with this plan. So I like the classical French with knight c3 a lot. There is just really a lot of theory there. And we see Firouzja offering this trade of his dark squared bishop. Yep, with this in mind, opening up his rook. Oh, wait a second. Was there knight g7 here? I'm gonna turn on the engine. Oh my goodness, I found a move Firouzja didn't find. This would have been it. With rook f7. Oh my goodness. King f7, queen h7, that would have been beautiful. If Firouzja won the game like that, and I'm so proud of myself, I found something Firouzja didn't even see. It just seemed, with this rook moving away from the defense of its king, it just seemed like this was the move. Sack 2 pieces for 2 pawns and just end them. Oh my gosh, that would have been incredible. Unfortunately, we don't get that, but oh, we have a different knight g7. I'll take this one. I'll take this one. Rook f7 and yeah, Firouzja's still winning here. He's just sacrificing a piece for 3 pawns, but he's got just incredible control of this position. So yeah. That's just a beauty. Well, I want to just scan this real quick. I said in this position after queen h5 that in 15 moves Firouzja would be winning. This is move 12. This is move 12. So move 12, right? In 3 moves, I would have predicted that black would have resigned. Now, if it happens, well, then I'm correct. I think it's going to happen right now. It happened! You're welcome. You're welcome. I know a little thing or two about Alireza Firouzja. You give that kid any semblance of I don't even know what I was just gonna say. Relative frequency? What was I even gonna say? Give him any sign of an advantage in a position, and it's over. Of an initiative, and it's done. Meanwhile, Naroditsky off to a pretty decent start. Pretty decent start, I gotta say. Sometimes he gets slow out of the gate. But in this one in particular, he's doing very well. I've seen him draw games, even lose a game or two. So but this one he's on fire. Maybe, yeah, that is a pretty good point. Somebody in the YouTube chat just said, I don't know how to pronounce Firouzja's name. Okay, this is interesting. This is news to me. If it's not pronounced Alireza Firouzja, then... No, we're not going to get Naroditsky Firouzja, because the way it works is that you play people that have your score, and also based on a divide of standings. Like, divide of standings. So, they're way too close in rating. It's going to take until around 7 or 8. So... Anyway, Naroditsky is just in cruise control here. Well, I think the best thing to do for Alireza is to become world famous. Step 1 is basically done. And then step 2, he's got to make... Have you guys seen those YouTube videos of pronunciation, like of various words? He's got to make a video pronouncing his name to the world, so no chess commentator does it incorrectly going forward. I think that's the best idea, because we've been calling him a name for years now. I think that's the simplest way to do it, and then, you know, and then everybody will know. Maybe some other grandmasters can do that as well. I support that idea. I don't know. This is a fascinating position. Fascinating position. Crescent Moon is a recent grandmaster. Whether from Vietnam or not, I don't actually know. But if you wanna be eligible for a prize entitled Tuesday and any sort of certification, you know, in any article, you do have to publicize your identity. I know a lot of there's a lot of folks out there that are curious. Queen b5 is a bit of an annoying move, but then I guess Rook e1 or 2. Players do have to share who they are. So, I like this. This is fighting here. Trying to get rid of this. Why didn't he just... he's setting up this move. Now pawn takes, and there's an e-pawn that can suddenly get going. This is a tense position, my goodness. Rook b4, knight e4. I don't care about my queen. This move probably wins the game. Yeah, because the queen trade just allows and knight e8 check. I think he just forgot about knight e8, yeah. Just a very, very nice game there. Alright, Mr. Naroditsky finally gets the win. Wow, this white was playing for a while there. Just not resigning, it seemed like. But Daniel with 3 out of 3. Listen, a very good start. If I want like 3 people to do well in this event, it's Big Fish, because he's the New York Marshall superstar. It's Mr. Naroditsky, because he's my boy. And then, I mean, I don't know. You guys pick. Who should be my third? That is true, Amoeba. Yes. See, Yoon Ludwig made a video about how to pronounce his name. I think the thing is good for Alireza as well. Yeah, this is Thomas Beardson from the Netherlands. Strong international master. I wouldn't be surprised if he's GM soon and also is playing in like Tata Steel Challengers. It's gonna take him at least maybe 1 or 2 more years. But I think he's 1 year. 2 years is a lot of time. Are there any other games remaining? Yes, there's quite a lot. Oh my gosh. What is this? This looks like a weird puzzle piece. Very strange, like, assortment of... check? Check? What? Pieces were lost that day. And Mr. Unico from Peru is going to win this game. Resignation. You have a choice of checkmate. Alrighty, who's on 3 out of 3? At this point, we start looking through the list of players and going, whoa, that guy's got 3 points. That guy's got 3 points. Let's start doing that. A lot of games are done. Just gonna refresh this real quick. Alrighty. Whoa! GM Hess has 3 points? I didn't even realize GM Hess was playing. No offense. I mean, I don't know why that's a, you know, we look at people who are like 3,000 plus in the beginning. Robert's just got to get up to 2,800. We're gonna follow a Robert Hess game next round for sure, because I think with these pairings, Robert is gonna be playing up. Although he's like right on the cusp, you know, because the way it works is you split them into halves and then you match them up. So go back to this game. Okay, all right. I mean, it's Rook Knight and Pawn versus Rook Bishop Pawn. Yeah. Is Hikaru not the Marshall superstar? Well, Hikaru is a big free agent, but Fedoseev has 11 out of 12 and a 2870 performance. So it's really who's performing at the level, right? So, no, but I mean, of course, it's a fantastic 1-2 combo. This endgame should be very holdable. And we see Genghis K. Now, Genghis K, I believe, is Federico Perez Ponza, I think. And yesterday, he competed against the New York Marshalls, and that was not a good matchup for Argentina. So Black here very calmly has a Philidor position, which is a position where you've got your king anticipating the pushing of the pawn if you're the defending side, and yeah, they trade the pieces. And the pawn is on the 5th rank, or basically one before the 3rd. Alrighty, we are going to take a short break. And when we're back, we will have coverage of round 4, Title Tuesday, February edition. Don't go anywhere. Alrighty, we appreciate your patience. And let's boot up some games for this round. Did mention that GMS absolutely crushing it today. And now they got to put him up against super talent by the name of Kazar Babazada. Listen, if you've got a Z in your first and your last name, you're really doing some things right. The stream is not over. You're joining us on Twitch, any of our other platforms. We love you. Thank you for spending your afternoon or evening or morning, I guess if you're still in Hawaii. Yeah, Super FM, 3000 rated FIDE Master. And just in time for our analysis of a GMS game, chainsaw action by the local construction workers has begun. We read all chats here. It's very rare that someone is threatening checkmate on Firouzja. Also, who on earth is Hanzo